So my name is Jennifer Prell. I'm the CEO and founder of Elderwerks Educational Services. You may or may not know me. Hopefully you do, because that means you've come to some of our fun events at Elderwerks. Elderwerks is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization providing social services to any older adult, senior, family, caregiver, or professional needing help or guidance or has an aging question. We are a free service and we act as senior guidance advisors and can help with anything from finding senior housing because we are senior housing experts and we know all the communities in Illinois, to finding reputable and supportive services such as brand financial concepts. Today we're going to talk about long-term care planning. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Carol Brandt. She's fabulous. She's the founder and president of Brand Financial Concepts, located not far from Elderwerks, if you believe. She's in downtown Palatine celebrating 40 years, which is crazy. That's a long time. Carol is a certified long-term care professional who's active and involved in many communities. She's also a member of the MIT Planning for Longevity Network as a contributor and collaborator on topics concerning brain health, aging, and longevity, with a focus on living better as we age, which we all want to live better as we age.
You betcha.
For sure. Carol's become a valued resource and professional partner of Elderwerks over the years, providing assistance in the areas of Medicare supplement education and enrollment, long-term care planning and financial planning, and helping answer questions to many of Elderwerks families, because as you know, Elderwerks is not an expert in all things. We just know some really good experts. Carol's firm was Elderwerks' first diamond level sponsor for our annual Aging Better Expo in August of 23, and again this year in August as well. We thank Carol for sharing her knowledge and her expertise this evening. Carol, how about if we can make the topic of long-term care planning not so scary tonight and begin?
We can do it. We can do it. First, Jennifer, thank you for that kind introduction. I've really been looking forward to this. Some of you may know that November is Long-Term Care Awareness Month. Jennifer and I love Halloween and wanted to do this in October. So this is a raven on my head here. Jennifer's got her ears going, her bat ears. And so let's clear the cobwebs and we'll take the scare out of this and have a discussion. But before we begin, because Jennifer said a lot about Elderwerks, but I don't think they brag nearly enough about themselves. And so I'm one of their biggest fans, and they're also one of my most important resources. I probably call on them, one of their people, at least once a week, and both in my business and in my personal life with what I do with my clients and in the community. And people come to us like we're their Google search bar for a lot of things, health, fitness, and more. But some of the inquiries are about caring for family members. Somebody's had a stroke. Someone's had an accident, and it's Elderwerks to the rescue. So I find myself referring to them often. So we're a supporter and a resource for Elderwerks, as they are a resource for us. And they've just been tremendous help to my clients. And I hope you all know about their amazing directory. They're getting ready to publish a new one. This thing is like a phone book, and if you haven't seen it, they give it out at no charge. And for me, they being able to refer clients to them or the people in the directory, from elder law attorneys, accountants, senior real estate professionals, and more importantly, they have vetted, and Jennifer said this, but I'll say it again, they've vetted, and I don't know how many, but many home care agencies and facilities. And when someone's had a stroke, maybe dementia that's gotten away from you, where family members are unable to care for the person anymore, it's called Elderwerks. There's no cost, and some of their clients come from some of the wealthiest communities, because it's not about money. They are a no charge organization, but they're not for any specific financial sitting, but for anyone in the community of any shape or size or financial awareness. So on your left, you're looking at our historic office building in downtown Palatine. My husband and I purchased this in 1985, gutted it, and pretty much gutted it, added on another 600 square feet, and we think we gave the building another 100 years of life. So I'm into longevity for people, not just people, but for structures too. So giving that another 100 years there was kind of nice. We're the only thing on the block right now, but this is the center of many community events, the parade judging of the July 4th judges. There's Street Fest right out front, Oktoberfest right next door. So it's a great place to meet our clients and bring people. Some of you have met and talked to my husband and my best friend, Jim Brandt. He's the financial side, the wealth manager, investment guru of the business. And we're a smaller firm by choice, but we make it a point to exceed expectations and everything we do. And we work hard at, like an army, leaving no stone unturned when we need to work for someone. So since the topic of long-term care planning, it can be a little bit scary and avoided sometimes, like the elephant in the room, and that's a theme for another talk I do. We do like to have fun while we learn and try to take the scare out of it. So I'll let you guess what's in my goblet here. It's not wine, but anything goes. So I hope you all grabbed a glass or a cup of something, and I've been looking forward to this. So as Jennifer said, we want this to be, we'll be entertaining questions and want this to be interactive and not just talking at you. So please raise your hand and type in the chat and let us know when things come up and they're on your mind, and we can take it from there. So with the magic wand, we'll begin. All right, so. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about lifespan versus health span. It's not just talking about products and solutions, but just how do we get there? How do we avoid? So it said that lifespan can be defined by how long we'll live, but what about our health span? And I'm all into keeping people well here. Health span is that period of time spent in good health and free from chronic illness or the disabilities of aging. So our lifespan could end up to be 100, but what if 50 of those years are spent in chronic illness? So we need to have a plan before, not after this crisis might occur. Jennifer and my family, we could talk about this later, maybe when it comes up, but we've all had unexpected experiences that could have been life-changing or, death or disability, and lived to tell about it. But some say that health span is more important than lifespan, and that's definitely something to think about.
And I think what you mean by that is your quality of life. The plan to have a good quality versus just a life. Is that what you're saying, Carol?
Exactly. Yeah. Quality of life is a big deal. So what are the odds here when we talk about what might happen? The odds of a home burning down, 3 in 100. Our chances of totaling a car, I can talk about that at some point in our lives, 18 out of 100. Someone turning 65 has almost a 70% chance of needing some type of care in their remaining years, but less than 7% of adults over 50 have done any planning for long-term care. So let's see here. Sharing something with you here real quick. In early August while in San Diego, Jim Brandt and I met Sully Sullenberger. I don't know if you know his name, but he was speaking at a wealth management retirement income conference, and he was the U.S. Airways captain whose plane carrying 155 passengers lost power in both engines. They took on a flock of geese with 5-foot wingspans, and I didn't know those details about it, but it gave him no choice but to put the plane down in the Hudson River. And Captain Sullenberger had just, and this was because somebody said to me, what could he possibly talk about for an hour and a half? Well, he talked about the 206 seconds that he had with the plane falling as fast as an elevator drops to convey the exact words to the flight crew and the passengers as to what to expect in the same 206 seconds, and also how he would drop the plane into the Hudson. And that meant the wings had to be perfectly level and the nose of the plane just so. And that was so the plane wouldn't break apart. And I heard that when you hit water at that speed, it's like there's a 50-50 chance involved of breaking apart. So he has this 206 seconds, and if you're curious about landing in the water, it's like hitting concrete. So there was a lot of factors involved. But Sully had to pick some words to the crew and to the passengers, and they had to be short and really sweet. As a matter of fact, his co-pilot could not even, they couldn't even speak. They had to, he went to step number 15 and started doing things to leave the power on so that the computers could still work for the few seconds that they had before they were going to hit the ground. And in case you're wondering, the words that he chose were brace for impact. And as I heard those words, I kind of thought about that as it relates to planning for long-term care, that we do have to brace for it. We do have to brace for impact. Recently, I heard Denzel Washington, a quote, it was, he stays ready so he doesn't have to get ready. So we can't stay ready right now because we're not quite ready, but we're going to get ready so that we don't have to get ready when something happens. So is that relevant today? Yeah, I think so. You decide. And so it's, congratulations for signing up and stepping up. And Perhaps you recall from that January 15th, 2009 incident, all 155 passengers and the crew were saved. And Tom Hanks stars in a movie about that. It's about the true story, but it was a pretty dramatic talk, and it was pretty cool. And then there was just one last thing to share, that Sully makes a call after he gets rescued, and you think it would be to his wife. No, it was to the tower. And to the tower, he says, "Hey, I've got a plane he calls the tower, and the guy says, I can't talk to you now. He goes, I've got a plane in the Hudson, to which Sullenberger replies, he goes, I know, I put it there." So moving on. Anyway, it was good. This is the only picture we could get that we didn't have to pay for. So there are better photos out there, but they're hundreds of dollars. So bear with me here. So joining the conversation, I like to talk about aging well, living well, and planning well. So there are things that, let's just take a minute to talk about the tweaks we might make to our daily lives in order to maintain independence as long as possible. And then we can talk about how to get prepared. I mentioned that quote about Denzel Washington, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I like that. So let's talk about that. Aging well, sing, stretch, and strengthen. What the heck? This is a long-term care talk. No, this is important. Why sing? A quick hello is all it takes when you hear somebody on the other end of the phone to cast judgment on maybe what their age range might be. And I've learned that men's voices go higher and women's voices go lower as we age. And singing is exercise for our voice, and it impacts our immunity, our lung function, memory, mental health. We can cope with pain better, and truly exercise for our voice. So what if you're shy? Well, sing in the shower, sing in the car, sing at home, sing when you're alone. Many people belong to church or other community choir, but it's just a good thing to do, and it does keep your voice sounding young. Stretching, so important. Maintaining mobility as we age can be so difficult without stretching. I stretch in the morning. I started doing something 7 years ago, and I'm obsessed with not leaving the master bedroom until I have done my 15 minutes of stretches. And whether I'm running late or not, I just do it. But stretch for your flexibility. It's good for increased circulation and blood flow. It reduces back pain and overall pain. And it's really easy to stretch from your bed in the morning. You can do all kinds of stuff in your bedroom before you even leave. I also have some water up there, and I have the little 8-ounces and try to, in the morning you haven't had any water all night. So it's a good way to get 1 or 2 bottles of water out of the way before you even leave your bedroom area. So should you need a more structured kickstart, there's park districts, and there's stretching classes out there now, the stretch labs and stretch zones. And just real quick comment, a former neighbor of mine wanted to lose some weight, and she got the treadmill. So for the first week, she went down to the basement and she sat next to the treadmill and she had a cup of tea. And as she's telling me this, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then she went on, she says, I sat there for the entire week. And she says, and then the next week I was able to get on the treadmill. She needed to go through those steps. So whatever works for you. She ended up losing 50 pounds and she looks great. And so do whatever you need to do to inspire you to do that. But and once you do something for a week or 2, they say it becomes a habit. And for me, it has become a habit. It's 7 years now that I've been doing those stretches every day. So I'm pretty limber, and I feel really good about that. Why strengthen? Oh my gosh, being strong is so important. Being able to get up off of the floor. You've seen the commercials. I've fallen and I can't get up. If you don't have strength in your legs, you're in trouble. And they say that is there's a sit to stand test that some medical professionals say is helpful to determine the longevity of someone 51 to 80. You might look that up and see what that's all about. And then there's others that say that one leg, standing on one leg for 30 seconds is a good indicator of being able to maintain, stability if you start to fall, and to do with aging. But strength training can enhance the quality of our life. It protects our joints. It contributes to better balance. It helps us from falling. No excuses. But you can, while brushing your teeth, you can stand on one leg while brushing your teeth. You can do backward leg lifts while brushing your teeth. When you're standing at the shopping cart, hold on lightly with your fingers and stand on one foot. Raise your foot, one foot slightly, and you're practicing your balance there while you're waiting in a long line at holiday shopping. There's all kinds of ways busy people can incorporate these things into our lives.
I did that. I have a new ACL because I ripped mine last year. I played softball, so I've been playing softball all last year without ACL. So now I have a new ACL, which is great. But after surgery, I had zero muscle in my left leg. It was the worst thing ever. I'm not good at relying on people or things. I'm very obstinate. So my workout consisted of, you know, going up on my toes and down, up on my toes and down, and then trying to balance on my leg. I still can't do 30 seconds on my left leg. I can do 25, but so that's really good, but that's your
Yeah,
quads.
that's
And
great.
if your quads are not strong, you will tip over. You have to work on your quads. You don't have to show the muscle, but you have to have the muscle.
There you go. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Also in August at the same conference, Jim Brandt and I met the famous skateboarder, Tony Hawk. At the Expo, I asked if anybody had heard of him, and about half of the people in the room knew who Tony Hawk was. I did not until he was there, but he's a famous skateboarder who's responsible for bringing skateboarding to the Olympics. He's still skating as 56. Yes, he's been broke as well as broken many times. And I'm not suggesting that you take up skateboarding, but that was just for fun to say we met him. And there are just some simple things that we can add to our daily routines that can help us age better. Living well. It's not just about being fit and eating right, but living well. And people think in threes. So you're going to get 3 here. Keep the bad guys out while you're away from home with the home security system. We've had ours for many years. After my father-in-law said to me, it was Jim's mom had passed, and so he was alone. He was a big guy, he was a tall guy. Not a little, not small and fearful or anything. But he says, I can't tell you how comforting it is to know that no one's in my house when I come home. I never thought of that. Jim was doing a little bit of traveling at the time, and he didn't leave town again until we had the security system installed. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but you don't pay for the equipment. ADT comes in, they install all the equipment at no cost. I think they still do that. And then you pay a monthly fee to have it there. And if you move, they don't take that equipment with you, but they give you that same equipment in that new home, and then you can upgrade. So I think it's a very reasonable thing to do. And I do like coming into my house knowing that no one's there. And I can also have it on with the motion off when I'm moving around if I am in the house alone. Simple improvements like adding grab bars for safety in the shower. The shower is one of the most dangerous places, and especially if you're alone. So those are things that I swear, if I was 30 years old and I lived alone, I think I'd have a fallen and I can't get up monitor thing, because there's nothing worse than being by yourself and having something happen and you've got no way to reach anyone.
You always have to have your phone with you or a smartwatch, exactly what you said. But in terms of the home security system, if you can't afford one, just get one of those stickers that says guard dog on the premises, put it in the window. That is one of the biggest deterrents, because robbers don't like dogs.
That too.
Yep.
And then maybe connect through help, like you said, with smartwatch or some sort of life alert system. But there's many more things. But I also am a believer in a natural gas generator. Our electrical grid is aging out there, and I cannot tell you the comfort. It's 5 seconds. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That baby starts to sing when the power goes out, and I can still blow dry my hair, and I can still go to the office and look decent. So natural gas generator. Then little things like for living well, for extra water in the house, some flashlights, maybe some non-perishable food, and whatever, extra flashlights. Wind up radio, whatever makes you feel safe and secure. These are all things for making us feel better about life and taking those little worries away. Let's take a look at a very short video here about long-term care. I clicked the right button, we'd get it.
Understanding long-term care. You are about to learn the 3 most important things to understand about long-term care. First, what is long-term care? Second, where do you receive long-term care? Third, the hidden significance of long-term care on the people you love, the people you've invited into your life. What is long-term care? Long-term care is care that is needed over an extended period and comes in 3 types. One type of long-term care is personal care, sometimes called custodial care. It's when you may need help with various tasks we do each day, but take for granted when we were healthy, such as eating, getting dressed, or walking. The second type of long-term care is skilled care, for which you need a skilled specialist or nurse. The third type of long-term care is supervisory care if you get Alzheimer's or other kinds of dementia. Where do you receive long-term care? Long-term care often evokes images of a nursing home, and while that is a subset of care, most people prefer to stay at home or receive care in an assisted living facility where they can be with other people. The hidden significance of long-term care on the people you love. It's of critical importance to understand what long-term care does not just to you, but to loved ones, both emotionally and financially. Long-term care causes you to be unable to fully care for yourself, and it impacts those you love by requiring their full attention. Will it be from your husband or wife? One of your adult daughters or sons? What impact will that have on them? You may say, I would never ask those I love to care for me. None of us want that. But if we fail to adequately plan, what choice are we leaving them? Of course, they will want to help as best as they can. Proper planning can help you afford and access the care you need so that your family can stay focused on caring about you and not for you. That planning often includes the right insurance to directly help you and also help the people you've invited into your life. Now that you know the 3 most important things about long-term care, it's time to have an insurance specialist help you be better prepared for long-term care.
Okay.
Understanding long-term care. Understanding long-term care. You are about to learn the
Go to
3
the next
most
slide
important
here.
things.
When it's, okay, there we go. Okay. So we saw that in the form of a video, but just a little discussion on that. Since this is a new topic to some in the room, let's break that down a little bit further. Some people brought to my attention that they were confused that they confused it with healthcare, that it was provided by medical personnel. So many think that it refers to medical insurance, and then others assume it refers to just being in a nursing home. But as the video said, long-term care, it's not a policy, it's not medical care or a place, but referring to long-term care means it's this personal supervision that's needed by us as we age, and that could be for any reason, for extended period of time. And generally it's associated with aging, but it could be at any time, any age, due to accident or chronic illness. A long-term care policy is what provides the coverage, but long-term care itself is the care that we need to, and where we seek some help. So when we talk about risk management and long-term care, this is another way to think about, like, oh, how did I forget that? We take protective measures for just about everything else in our life. We have health insurance to protect our wellness. We have auto insurance to protect our transportation. We have life and disability insurance to protect our family and our incomes. And we wouldn't think of not having homeowners insurance, but what happened to long-term care? Well, it hasn't been out there forever. It came out in the 80s. People thought it was expensive, not necessary. And then what else is going on? We're raising kids. We're paying for mortgages in college, and there's other focuses. We also have seen a rise in cost of health insurance, auto insurance, homeowners insurance all over the country. So people have a certain budget for insurances in general, and then there's life insurance that most people do have some of. So thinking about long-term care and taking care of ourselves as we age kind of got put on the back burner. So there's no exact science as to when is the best age to start planning here. So it's great that you signed up, stepped up, and we're talking about the elephant in the room, or the scary aspects of this, because it just doesn't take care of itself. We have to take some action. This is interesting. A lot of people don't know this. There's only 2 states that aren't. Illinois is one of 48 that is a long-term care partnerships state, and effective 2007, Illinois expanded the Medicaid program to allow Illinois qualified partnership long-term care policies that were purchased after the state's effective date to provide a guaranteed Medicaid asset protection. And basically, if you buy a partnership qualified, generally these are traditional long-term care plans in Illinois, and you use up these benefits in your policy, you're eligible to protect that amount of assets away from Medicaid and have those assets be disregarded. So in an example, let's say you've got $400,000 pool of funds in your long-term care plan, and you plow through those plans, and now you need to rely on and apply for Medicaid. you saved Medicaid that first $400,000. So they're going to disregard that 400,000 that's sitting in your savings account, in your 401k, in your IRA, and keep that off of the table when counting your assets to spend down. In Illinois, and I'm not a Medicaid attorney, I stay in my lane. There are elder law attorneys and other incredible people that are also resources to Elderwerks. So we do want to have a conversation with them if you'd like to explore that further. But in Illinois, we've got to spend down to $2,000 and be broke to that extent generally. But if we have a long-term care partnership plan, we could have $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in an IRA or other location, other type of account, and still have that be disregarded and able to stay in our hands.
So
So
what
this
you're
is-
saying, Carol, is if I have $500,000 left wherever, 400,000 of it is ignored, and I only have to spend down that 100,000 to 2,000, correct?
It's whatever amount you have in your example. Did you say you had 500?
Yeah, I had 500,000 left.
You had $500,000 in your personal account and you've spent in your long-term care plan and you spent it.
I spent the long-term care plan 400,000. I have 500,000 left in assets.
You get to keep the 400,000 and the 100,000 would need to
Be
be
the spend down. Yeah,
be the spend
okay.
down. Yes,
All right,
exactly.
just making sure I'm on the same page.
There are some plan differences in between the states, but there's currently only 2 states that are not partnership qualified. So that means that we can move anywhere except, what was it, Utah and
Utah. But who wants to live in Utah?
Utah and I have that right here. We were just talking about it. Oh, here, Utah and Mississippi.
Interesting.
Not partnership qualified, right? And that's important to know, that if you move to a warm climate and you have a policy that was bought in a partnership qualified state, that you could still have that protection when you move. So that's why I mentioned that. That's important. Now, this is small, and I will be happy to email this to you, but it's here because it's got data on it that I want to share with you. I'm sorry that it's small, but in the first column here, we've got Medicare. And to the left, we can see it references nursing home, assisted living, continuing care, and adult daycare, and home health care. Medicare supplements, in a nutshell, Medicare, personal medical insurance, Medicare supplements never pay for long-term care. You can see as we look down the list there, there's a reference at the top left to the first 20 days, and then from 21 to 100. Medicare does pay for some care when the need is for skilled care. And skilled care is defined as a medical professional that's delivering services to us. Maybe that might be wound care, that might be rehab therapy following a knee or a hip replacement. And although that was done away with for a period of time after COVID, there is a hospital stay required first. So I'd say 50% of the people that come in to see me for their when I'm 64 talk, when they're turning 65 and we're going to have a Medicare and Medicare supplement discussion, they come in mistakenly thinking that Medicare pays for, now that I'm 65, Medicare is going to pay for long-term care. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Medicare may pay for the first 100 days of the need for skilled care, but as soon as we no longer need skilled care and we need help with maybe feeding, bathing, transferring, just personal assistance, that is, as you can see in the first column there, does not pay. As we move into the second column, that's using the word Medigap, that I wish they would use the same term all along, but it's Medicare supplement. So private Medicare supplement, Medigap insurance, also that's where the 20% is going to come in to help with the 21 through 100 days of, again, the skilled care, not non-skilled care, not companionship, not just simple assistance. Also does not pay. Then we get into Medicaid, and Medicaid is going to help us out if we've spent down, and we're looking at facility care. And the last column is referencing that we're pretty much left on our own to pay. So Medicare supplements only pay for a portion of skilled care and only for that first 100 days. So that pretty much leaves us with a pay on your own scenario. If you have that hip replacement though, or that knee replacement, great. The first 100 days, we can maybe get out of Medicare and a supplement. But beyond that, or if we're not improving. We could be in the 20th day of receiving skilled care from a stroke. And if we're at a point where we're not improving and we're moved out to a long-term care facility, Medicare will cease paying when we no longer when we no longer benefit from that skilled care and we just need custodial care. So this is an enlightening time for some people. And there you can see how surprised they are. So doesn't medical insurance and Medicare pay? Now, again, personal medical insurance, group medical coverage, Medicare and Medicare supplements never pay for long-term care. Medicare Advantage plans don't pay either. These plans may pay for that short-term care that I mentioned on the prior page up to 100 days, but only if skilled care such as rehab or wound care is needed. Medicare never covers long-term care. So it is a surprise to about 50% of the people that visit me on a webinar today. And I'm constantly learning. I've been in 2 sessions this week. I went to an in-person seminar, an hour and a half, continuing ed, and then I had a webinar today. And they were saying that actually a third of the people in the study thought that Medicare covered supplement. I'd say my experience is people coming to talk to me, it's about 50-50. So when we first need long-term care, it's generally received in a home setting. People generally want to stay at home. They're initially cared for by loved ones, maybe, if they don't have coverage. And when the home setting, whether it's the need for medical equipment or increased supervision becomes greater, then decisions might be made that we need care in a facility. So claiming policy benefits, we're now talking about how do we, let's say we have a plan. How do we even qualify for benefits? Claiming policy benefits is pretty much the same across the board of all the things we're going to talk about. So becoming eligible for benefits happens when we have been determined chronically ill by a licensed medical professional, and they've given us a plan of care that we need long-term care services. And then to qualify, we must need assistance in 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. They're called ADLs. And those are the activities listed there: the transferring, toileting, continence, bathing, dressing, and eating. And if you think about it, just getting up in the morning, we got to transfer from our bed. Hopefully we've been continent through the night and we can get to the bathroom. Then we go to the shower and then dress, and then maybe then to the kitchen to eat. But most of those ADLs are addressed in the first half hour of us getting up in the morning. And so if we can't do 2 of those, it's likely that we need assistance in more than 2 as well. So qualifying for benefits, we need assistance in 2 of 6 of those activities of daily living. A medical professional gives us a plan of care, and we have a 90-day deductible or a 90-day waiting period in most cases. We're also eligible to receive benefits, which is a common question, if we're certified to need continual supervision due to severe cognitive impairment. So it's not just because you could be severely cognitively impaired and still be able to transfer and get to the bathroom and dress yourself and eat, but you've got the cognitive impairment. So after that 90-day waiting period, in general, once we become eligible for benefits, that elimination period passes and the benefits begin. So that elimination period generally starts on the first day we're deemed chronically ill, and in some cases it's when we start receiving care. But once that 90-day waiting period, just let's talk in general, has been satisfied, then we're able to receive benefits for whatever the plan it is that we bought, whatever monthly benefit we purchased, or whatever pool of funds we've set up in whatever type of plan. And there is an array of plans available, and I am certified and educated and licensed to be able to talk to you about that array of plans, because there's not just one way to do this. So as long as we're eligible, so now we're receiving benefits. So we've got the plan of care. We are dependent in 2 of 6 activities of daily living. The 90-day waiting period has been satisfied. So as long as we remain eligible for coverage, benefits are going to be paid out to us as long as our pool of money lasts. So it's like you can enjoy your retirement until your money's all gone. You can go on a vacation until your budget runs out. You can go to the grocery store with $100 in your wallet and buy $100 worth of groceries. So as long as your pool of funds lasts, that's how long the claims payment period would go. So we're going to take a look at some examples here, because I can't stand it when I go to webinars and I never know, like, what does it cost? Give me some idea of what the plan might look like and what it might cost. So the first thing we're going to talk about is traditional long-term care. This will be the type of insurance that's partnership qualified, as we talked about before, and regarding the partnership qualification. So the disregard for whatever's in this policy will help us if we need Medicaid. So traditional long-term care plan might look something like this. This is an actual client, Larry, 65. He was interested in a partnership qualified plan. So for him, we set up a long-term care plan with a 3% compound inflation rider on it. In order for a plan to be partnership qualified, you've got to have an inflation factor on it. You can't just buy a little plan and have it sit there and say it's partnership qualified. It has to have an inflation protection on it. So Larry got a plan that gave him an immediate benefit of $6,000 for payable for 5 years. And there's a 5% discount in there for living with a partner. So Larry was already 65, but for $318 a month, he got a long-term care policy that started out with $6,000 a month and a $360,000 pool of money. That's day one. Now over on the left, you see we put the 3% inflation rider on there. So now this is going to cook a while. This is going to grow. So Larry's 65 when he bought it, but it's going to increase, guaranteed, with that 3% rider. So that inflation rider is going to increase that benefit to $560,000, which is going to increase his benefit to $9,300 a month by year 15. By year 20, there's $650,000. And I say there is because this is guaranteed. This is not an investment product. This is not a maybe. This is a 3% rider on a guaranteed plan. $650,000 will spin off $10,800 at year 20, if that's when he begins to collect. And by the time, and in 30 years, there's $874,000 and $14,600 per month, and they're guaranteed. Now that will last 5 years. If you, for example, in the beginning, you have $6,000 a month and you use the exact $6,000 a month, it would last for 5 years if you had $360,000. Well, what if you only needed $3,000 a month? Or in later years, you only needed half of the $10,800, then it will last longer. So here we have accumulated, we have a pool of funds sitting there available for us. And what's the magical thing about this is he puts in $318 and has an immediate access up to $360,000 paying this monthly. That's insurance. That's just how it goes. It's not too good to be true. It's just the way that it's built. So even at 65, get it now. Will $6,000 pay for today? If something happened to him today, will that pay for a nursing home? Not necessarily pay the total cost of a nursing home, but this is what his budget was, and this is what he was able to do. And if he doesn't need this for 10 or 15 or 20 years, he's built up a nice sum there with the 3%, rider.
Let me just say something about housing. So they can use long-term care for assisted living or greater. So if he does go into assisted living in Illinois starts around $4,800 and it goes up to $15,000 per month, depending on your care needs. Skilled nursing is typically $6,000 as a start, but you're looking towards $15,000. But by the time that Larry needs this, he should be pretty good and covered, especially if he has a house and some assets.
Right.
This is to protect your legacy and to take care of you as you age. It's not to protect your heirs. It's to protect you so you get the best care and thrive.
Good point. Absolutely. So we'll go on to the next slide here. Now, a traditional long-term care for Hank. Now, Hank waited until he was 75 to come in and talk to me. This is a real guy here. He needed to be under $400 a month. So like going to the grocery store with $100 in your wallet, I filled the cart with what he could afford, and he wanted to have an even amount there. So he got a long-term care plan with a 3% compound inflation protection on it, but we put it together with a 20-year inflation rider, meaning that it would stop increasing in 20 years because he's already 75. Sometimes people will put together plans without the inflation rider on there if they're not worried about partnership qualification, but we wanted that here. So at his age, 75, he didn't get a $6,000 plan, but for $373 a month, Hank was able to, at age 75, get a starter plan, a plan starting out with $3,000 a month and a $144,000 pool of funds. which with that 3% rider on there, that's going to keep increasing for 20 years. You can see it goes up to 193,000, 224,000, 260,000 in 20 years. So it's not perfect, but it was what he could afford, and it's going to help cover some of his costs. And again, the partnership protection. He could have a $500,000 IRA sitting there and use this money up and still have and qualify for Medicaid and still have his $500,000 on his side of the board. So that's what he chose to do. A traditional long-term care plan, again, another partnership qualified plan for a non-married couple or a married couple. This is the real deal, Philip and Jeremy, age 52 and 56. For $256 for Philip and $276 for Jeremy, each have a $360,000 beginning pool of money and a $6,000 plan. Got a shared care rider on this traditional plan, and what that means is they can use one another's funds if one would exhaust the other. So Jeremy uses and let's say it's the first year, Jeremy uses his $360,000, he can go tap into Philip's. They will spend that down. The insurance company will spend that down, leaving Philip with 1 year of care if they want to do that.
We have a question real quick. I'm going to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
The question is, how do pre-existing conditions play into these traditional long-term care insurance plans?
I pre-underwrite everything on the front end so that people don't have to go through an application and get rejected. So let's say you called me, we talk about your pre-existing conditions, and I would anonymously run them by the programs, the carriers that we wanted to talk about. Let's say you got approved. Once you got approved, because your cancer's been too long ago for them to worry about. And I'll just interject this now. Controlled high blood pressure, thyroid problem, a little bit overweight, cholesterol controlled with medication. Nobody cares about that. Those are all okay things. You can have those things. Those are not serious things. Cancer with certain period of recovery, depending upon the severity of the cancer. So anyway, back to the pre-existing condition. Once you're approved, there's no pre-existing conditions. Once you're accepted, just like life insurance, once you're a traditional, quality life insurance, these are all A or better rated carriers that we deal with. We're independent, so we can go out to any carrier. But there's really not that many long-term care carriers out there. But the ones that are left, the ones that have stayed in the market or come back into the market are all quality. And I say stayed because during COVID, some of them put things on hold, and a number of companies did leave the marketplace at that time. So
Okay,
no pre-existing condition worries.
Okay,
No.
are the monthly benefits paid to the facility or care agency or to the person to use to pay for those services personally?
For the traditional long-term care plan, up to 25% of the benefit with one company only can be, and I'm not here to promote any particular company nor myself, so we're not seeing any brands here. So up to 25% of the benefit can be paid out in cash with a 0-day waiting period on one particular traditional long-term care plan. And that means that with 0 days, you can have 25% of the 6,000 up to 2,000 max to spend as you choose. You can pay an informal caregiver, pay a spouse, pay for yard work, etc. The rest of the benefit is on a reimbursement level, and licensed facilities or caregivers need to be used. You need to be able to produce a receipt. If you can produce a bill, then you can get reimbursed. But just to pay the informal caregiver will be with that first 25% maximum $2,000 per month. Other plans we're going to talk about are cash or reimbursement. It depends on the carrier.
And keep in mind, when you move into, let's say, ABC assisted living, and you're using your long-term care plan portion for your care, you need to still watch your bill. You still need to make sure they're not raising your rates unexpectedly or without warrant, because it does go against your pool. And that pool is your money. That is your money to use for your care. So if they eat it fast and you run out fast, you're going to have less of a quality of life. So make sure someone is always watching the bills.
Absolutely. That's a very good point. So over to the right here with this inflation rider, still on the one with a couple, we can see this long-term care plan's got a 3% rider on there, immediate monthly benefit of up to 6,000. And I say up to because what if you only needed 4? Then you just take 4 and it's going to last longer. But it starts out with $6,000, which would last for 5 years if we had the $360,000 pool of money. There's a 5% discount for living with a partner, and there's a 15% discount for good health. I hate to say it, but before COVID, the discount was 30% for a partner, and it was 30% for good health. So you could actually put 2 people in a plan, and with those discounts, almost have one be free. So moving forward, though, here's what that grows up to. With the 3% inflation rider, in 15 years, these guys have 560,000 or 9,300 a month, then 650,000, 10,008, 874,000 up to 14,600 a month in year 30, and it's partnership qualified. So this is a nice plan.
It is a nice plan. There's one more question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, please.
Are there policies that cover multiple states if, for example, you relocate to be closer to family in another state?
Yes, you can take everything with you, and then that partnership qualification I mentioned is all but 2 states, Utah and Mississippi. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Here, let's take a look now with another way to do this is life insurance with a living or accelerated benefit rider. So what we saw first was a traditional long-term care plan. I don't want to call it a use it or lose it in a negative way, but it's just like homeowners insurance, auto insurance, medical insurance. You pay the premium. When you need the benefit, you get the benefit, but there's not any refund. Yes, there are premium refund riders that can go on those, but I don't load them up with junk. There's no sense in throwing all these riders on there that might only pay when the moon is full and the sun is high. The only riders I want to see on a traditional long-term care plan would be a shared care rider. I think that could be essential because that doubles the benefit. Because oftentimes in households, only one person needs long-term care through a lifetime, and as well as the inflation rider. I do want to see that. So here's now a different approach. This is using life insurance as the chassis with a living or accelerated benefit rider. Like why use life insurance? Life insurance can be a pain in the butt to pay, but life insurance can be a wonderful vehicle for estate planning because it is a chassis that the government allows tax-free benefits to come out of. So let's see what this looks like. So life insurance with living benefit riders might look something like this. This is Michelle, 50 years old. She was interested in a life insurance plan with a living benefit rider. And this is now where we're going to see a $300,000 death benefit that she gets to tap from day one. Her premium was $342, which goes into a life insurance plan. It gives her an immediate death benefit of $300,000 that grows over time because some of these can be have market action. This is not a securities presentation, so we're not getting into all that with compliance, and there'd be so many more things I need to do. So we're just showing a sample. But this $300,000 plan can have a 4% rider on it, which would pay an immediate $12,000 benefit day one. So as that cash value grows, the death benefit grows, and that $12,000 can grow as well. There's also a 0-day waiting period under certain circumstances. So this is now, we've got a death benefit day one. So if we live, we can tap the money ourselves. We can also tap the equity in it. So it's got liquidity to it. If we die after the second day, or we never need long-term care benefits and then pass away, the family gets the $300,000 tax-free. But using this chassis of life insurance allows that $12,000 or whatever the person needs to tap that death benefit where they can use it. That's why we're calling it a living benefit. This is not partnership qualified. This is a plan for someone that says, you know what, I've been living on term insurance my whole life, or I had my group life insurance at work and I never really got anything for my family. And I think I should have some life insurance. So if there's a need for life insurance and a need for long-term care, this is a great Swiss Army knife that does a lot of things. And that premium, by the way, I don't do anything that's not guaranteed. This is guaranteed to 120. that even if there was zero growth in the market, that premium would never change, that death benefit would never change. No one will ever knock on Michelle's door and ask for more money, or you need to reduce your death benefit, like in the old days when the universal life plans came out and they were projected at too high an interest rate. And then we sat on a decade of low interest rate environment. So this is all guaranteed. I don't mess with anything that's not guaranteed, so that everybody's safe.
So this is I used to call these convertible life. So if you don't need it, if you think that you're going to live a long time and when you pass away, you don't have any heirs, right? You could just go ahead and use this for your care, correct?
Well, it is designed with the rider on there so that
Right.
when the $12,000 or whatever it is you take out, that is all coming out tax-free. But let's
Nice.
say that you never needed care and you hit 85 and you hit the lottery or marry a rich guy, and you just want to go take your cash value out. You could have hundreds of thousands of dollars in there. You subtract what you put in, that's your basis, right? And then you pay
Mhm.
tax on the remainder. But these are also, this is another talk, but these also can be built called LIRPs, LIRP, life insurance retirement plans. My doctor clients, my young doctor clients, they've invested all they can in their 401k, and this thing operates like a giant Roth. So
Mhm.
you can put, what you do is you take a minimal amount of life insurance, or the smallest amount that you want, and then there are specific calculations that let you determine how much premium you can put in there that goes and gets invested for you. So anyway, this is not an investment talk, so I won't go any further on that. But these they can be wonderful vehicles to do all sorts of things with. And when you do that, because of the nature of it being a life insurance plan, you can take that money out tax-free. You recategorize what you're taking out. They call it a loan, but then you're credited the same amount you're charged, so it's considered a zero net cost loan. And so, yes, if you never needed care and you wanted to take the money out and use it yourself, you can do that too. So it truly is a Swiss Army knife that lets you do a lot of things. This is probably one of the more popular ways for people that have existing life insurance to fund one of these. This is a doctor client. He had an existing life insurance policy that was a $675,000 death benefit, but it had no living benefits. He bought this when he was 30 years old. This is going to blow you away. He bought this when he was 30 years old, and he was still paying a $7,200 annual premium that he was going to pay for the rest of his life. The cash value in it was $289,000. So what we did is we exchanged the $289,000 cash value. We exchanged his current policy for a new plan of $675,000, and I was able to wipe out his premium. No further premiums, guaranteed to 120. How can that be? He was 30 years old when he bought it, and he was 64 when he bought the new one. It was because the cost of insurance and life expectancies have changed. The actuarial tables have been redone multiple times since he was 30 years old. And it just worked out this way. So his life insurance plan, he got immediate $675,000 death benefit, which would be tax-free to his family if he passed. And that's just the nature of life insurance. There is a 2% rider on here. It could be 2 or a 4% rider. 2% rider that would give him, they'll accelerate some of that death benefit if he needed long-term care. Starts out at $12,300 per month. And again, there's growth here of the 675, and there's growth of the 12,000. So this was a perfect thing for him. It wiped out the $7,200 annual premium, and it freed up funds to get a plan for his wife, who didn't have a policy to exchange, but they both now, the husband and wife both now have life with long-term care policies here. And these both of them are guaranteed to 120.
Excellent. We have a question.
Yes.
If you use your death benefit I misread. If you use your death benefit of 300,000 or 675,000 as in the example on your care, is the plan over and done once you spend the money?
Once you use whatever the pool of funds is, it would be done. Let's say he had the 675,000 and he used 300,000 of it for care. The rest of it is still available for death benefit for his family. And again, I'm not illustrating this here, but that is in the market. That cash value, that 289,000 that we exchanged, that went right to work for him. And so that's
Nice.
going to grow up to be a very large plan by the time he's in his 80s.
Excellent.
So, and they both have that. There's also a way to take 401k money. Only one company does this. There's only one company that's gotten this approved. Let's see, you've got some 401k or 403b or IRA money sitting there, and you don't really have any other liquid assets. You're living on a pension and you don't have a long-term care plan, but you've got qualified money. The term qualified is used when it's retirement money, IRA, 401k, 403b. So how do we do that? So it's put in an annuity, which funds a life plan. So the annuity alone isn't going to do it, but the annuity funded life plan with a long-term care rider could do it. So this is Mary. Mary had a policy with Mary had $88,000 that she was willing to part with from her IRA, and she did a partial rollover to an annuity. And this is all done like behind, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but it's all in one contract. So it rolls into the annuity because that's what's allowed. And that annuity then spits out, after being bonused 25% to cover the taxes. So this is what's very cool about this. After being bonused 25% to cover the taxes, it then funded 10 years of a premium of $11,030, which funded a life insurance policy for her. This particular person had a $5,000 monthly plan that she bought through the workplace long ago. And I encouraged her to keep it, and she wanted another $3,000. So what it did, it gave her an immediate $74,000 death benefit and $3,000 a month guaranteed for the rest of her life. So she takes the $88,000 partial IRA rollover. It goes into an annuity with one company. It's the same company that then credits her with a 25% bonus that is added to 10 installments. And so over the next 10 years, it spits out $11,000, which paid the premium on the plan. And this gave her a $3,000 long-term care benefit for the rest of her life. So she was smart to take advantage of that employer plan. But this is something that people can do when they have qualified money. Could you take 100,000 and do it? Could you take 200,000 and do it? Could you take less and do it? Yes, yes, yes. It's all this stuff is custom. An annuity funded life for a couple might look like this. This was a couple that had 150,000, and it was a partial IRA rollover from one person. And this is also unique with this particular company in that they'll take money from one person's IRA and they'll allow it to fund a joint policy. So this was pretty cool. Teresa's 60 and Rick is 61 when they bought this. They took their 150,000 from their IRA. It went into annuity, just like the lady before. There's the 20, when this happened, the bonus was 20%. It was before the market ticked up a bit. So they got a 20% bonus, which got added to their 10 years. Then you're going to get a 1099, because remember, she's taking money. They're taking money out of a qualified plan. Taxes got to come from somewhere. And this company gives them that bonus in order to cover it. So the 180,000 spits out. The 180,000 rolls out $18,000 a year for 10 years, which funds a life insurance policy with a $176,000 death benefit. And the two of them get $5,288 a month for life out of a $150,000 deposit. I think that's pretty decent.
I would like that. Go ahead and send that to me.
So, okay. So not too much underwriting and joint plan. And then again, that was with qualified money. Life insurance with a long-term life insurance can also have an asset-based look to it. This one is, this was Wayne, 64. He had $151,000 955 CD maturing. Real quick, today's dollars, 151,000 at age 85. Multiplied it out with a 6% return, that would have grown to $285,000, and then that would have been taxable, right? Because this is just money. This is just CD. But instead, what if we put that 151,000 in a hybrid life with long-term care benefit plan? He gets an immediate $853,664 pool of money that spins off $8,000 a year tax-free that would last 8 years. By age 85, we're looking at 1.5 million, 14,000 a month for 10 years, for 8 years, tax-free. This is with 3% inflation rider and a death benefit of 192,000. So on that one with Michelle, you saw a larger death benefit. So that's using a larger life insurance policy with a benefit access rider. Here, this hybrid type look, this is now a smaller death benefit, but highly leveraged. Look at that. You put 151,000. Go to the bank and ask them to give you credit for $853,000 when you give them 151,000. Nobody can do that but an insurance company. I get excited about these things because it just does so much with people's money and adds a lot of security there. I mean, where else can you get that? Where else can you get that? So the next one here, this is another asset-based hybrid. This is 250,000 in a Roth IRA. So that's tax-free anyway, right? So tax-free, that would have grown at 6% to 849,000, and that growth on it taxable. Mike is 64. Instead, he puts it into one of these hybrid plans and he gets an immediate $1.4 million benefit. That pool of funds there. $13,000 a month for 8 years by age 85, 2.6 million, 24,000 a month. What did this cost him? 250,000 in a Roth IRA that he wasn't going to be needing. He wasn't going to be using it. So there's discussions about, what people can afford and all that first, of course, but he wasn't going to be using it. So what a great example for a higher net worth client. Why do high net worth clients do this? Because it's tax-free. Why pay for care with fully taxable money? Lose 40 cents on the dollar when you could pay for your care with tax-free funds. Then there's an annuity. We haven't talked about this yet. This is a straight annuity with a long-term care benefit. So Sandra, 72, she had $200,000 in a non-qualified annuity. I have a lot of people call, like, I've got an old annuity. What can I do with it? Can I get long-term care with this? Yes. You can exchange that non-qualified annuity. When money comes out of annuities, it's taxable. It's taxable to the extent that it's over and above your basis, right? It's just been an accumulation vehicle. So she can take that $200,000 in her non-qualified annuity. She can exchange it, get a $504,000 pool of funds, an $8,400 benefit that would last for 5 years or longer if she took less. At age 87, it's projected at $574,000 up to $9,500 for 5 years. So there's just another example of some money sitting there, an annuity that somebody bought long ago and didn't have any bells and whistles or any features on it, but didn't know what to do with it. But this was a good thing for her. Older or previously declined, some annuity long-term care plans have only 4 questions. That last one only has 4 questions. That's just a straight annuity. There's no life insurance on there. Are you currently using a wheelchair, walker, dialysis machine? Do you currently need help with your activities of daily living? Have you been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia, memory loss, organic brain syndrome, MS, etc.? And have you been tested positive for HIV? The answer is no. You got that policy. That's all the underwriting there is on that. So for people that have been declined or are older, this goes up to 85 here. Then lastly, there's a short-term recovery care plan out there now. This is also for people that have been declined elsewhere. Very few questions on it. This is a 1-year plan, and this is what it looks like. And they'll issue up to age 89. This is a recovery care plan. So this is a nursing home or assisted living coverage. It's $12,000 a month for 51 weeks. That piece of it for Deb, age 63, that was not insurable on some of the earlier plans, that's $152 a month. We add a home care rider. There's no waiting. I designed, these are custom, no waiting periods. I could have waiting periods, but look at her premium. No waiting period. So she gets in an accident, she has a stroke, she's recovering from an illness, she lives alone. So here now she has a nursing home plan and a home care rider with no waiting period. Her nursing care rider is $1,200 a week for 52 weeks. The nursing home piece is $152 and the home care rider is $60 a month. So for $212, she's got a really nice 1-year recovery plan and she couldn't have gotten anything else. This is the only thing she qualified for. And this worked for her. So Short-term recovery for an older, here's now somebody 74. This is Marino, same policy. It was $421 for the nursing home and $137 for the home care. It was $558. He was 74 years old. The other lady was younger. So kind of give you an idea there. But if for someone who has nothing, but they've got some money, it is a way to transfer risk. And then I want to add to all of these, it's not just about, I'm going over my time a little bit here. It's not just about insurance, but it's also about the care coordinator and concierge services. First of all, when in doubt, call Elderwerks. But all these policies come with, these are excerpts from 5 different types of contracts. You could get help quickly when you need it most from Care Solutions concierge team. All of them help you with your claim forms, help you find the places along with Elderwerks. You're not alone in care management. Ensure that the transition from needing care to getting care runs smoothly. Reduce the challenges you and your loved ones have in finding care and determining the cost. Match you with local resources. Care coordinator to contact the family members and assess your needs. Oversee. And then benefits include care coordination services at no additional cost. All of these things are built in. So it's not just about having insurance, but it's about having this whole array of services, this whole team of professionals from Elderwerks to the insurance companies to help you through the process. How do we fund a plan? Real quick. Well, we've got investments in CDs. We can exchange an annuity, as we saw. Come January 25th at under age 59 and a half, 25% without penalty can come from a traditional retirement plan without penalty and help fund. You can exchange an existing or older cash value insurance policy, as we saw with that doctor that had the $675,000 plan. Maybe you've got a rainy day fund there, or maybe some family gifting. In some families, they've asked the parents for, hey, how about a little bit of that now before you pass away, so we can fund our long-term care plan and, take care of family. As you saw that it can come from an IRA or a 401k. It could be your RMDs. I have a lot of clients that aren't using their RMDs, and that can help fund a plan. And then just maybe it's on a monthly basis from your normal cash flow. And those people that just have some normal monthly cash flow, traditional long-term care plan with a monthly premium works out real well for them. Just a little bit of industry update. Long-term care planning has increased dramatically since the onset of the pandemic. There's still an elephant in the room, but people as young as 40 are starting to ask about this, and financial advisors and fiduciaries, they need to address this topic, and they should refer their clients to a specialist, because if you don't have all the, if you just have a health insurance license and you haven't had the partnership training, you can't do certain things. If you don't have a securities license, you can't show them the ones with the growth. And so it's not just about having a license. It's not just about being certified. It's about being able to show the clients, show people the whole array of things that are out there for them. And also new long-term care insurance premiums should be more stable than in the past, because everything's been repriced. And 41 states now, this is important, have now strict pricing and rate adjustment regulations for new policies. The Society for Actuaries has determined that policies issued since 2014 have only a 10% probability of needing an increase. And if an increase were needed, that society estimates it would need to average only 10%. So that is a concern of some people, because some of the rate adjustments from the past have been huge, but that everything has been repriced and properly priced. So that's good to know. You've been asking some questions along the way, and these are some questions that are frequently asked, like what happens if I buy a policy and I never need care? It depends on the type of plan. The traditional long-term care insurance that we saw in the front end that is partnership qualified, that doesn't return any premiums. You had your coverage and you were protected and you didn't need it, so there's not any refund there. Can I receive care in another state? Should I move? That was a question that came up. Yes, you can. Are there any tax advantages to paying for care with insurance versus my retirement savings? Heck yeah, comes out tax-free. Retirement savings has to be taxed at some point. And even a Roth, the money, once it's invested, you're still paying tax on the growth. Here, everything comes out tax-free. Policy renewal, yes, is guaranteed. I skipped one. Do policies cover Alzheimer's if diagnosed down the road? Yes. Yes. Can you get a policy if you already have Alzheimer's? No, I'm sorry, you can't. Can I obtain a policy on myself and not my spouse? Yes, it's not required that both apply. You do get a 5% discount in some cases where there's a spouse in the house, because we tend to seek care, caregiver later when we have someone that's helping us with the sandwich, get to the restroom, and the shower. What's the best age to set up a long-term care plan? I'm asked this all the time. God, I do have a magic wand here, but not for that answer. God, I would love people to start talking about it at 55. I think that would be great. They haven't paid, for many, many years when they couldn't afford it and struggled. But if people could start talking about this at 55, that would be great. Most common with me is the when I'm 64 talk. So people that haven't done any planning, when they come in for their Medicare supplement planning, that's a time when costs are being reduced. If they're paying for their own health insurance, they're reduced sometimes for when they're getting the Medicare and the supplement. And they're more willing to talk about it then. Best age, again, we talked about 55. Is applying for a plan before my next birthday a good idea? Heck yeah, every birthday is a higher rate. Now, once you have it though, the rates don't change. It's locking in that rate. So, when people have a birthday on the horizon, I always say, just try not to go in for your annual physical and find something wrong with you, and try not to have that birthday pass. And honestly, this is not to scare anybody, but we're all only just a blood test away from acceptance or declination. Sometimes people don't know what's wrong with them. They go in for that physical and stuff pops up. So I don't want to keep anyone from medical care, but if you don't need to see a doctor and everything looks good and you are interested in long-term care, seek help from someone like me, your own people, but make sure they have all the credentials and can show you the whole array of plans that are out there, because it's not, I had someone that was just shown one thing, and the financial advisor referred the person to a specialist, and this woman was pending gallbladder surgery. So they do the application, so she's pending gallbladder surgery. Well, of course she was declined. She was pending going under the knife and being put to sleep. So there she had this declination on her record. It's like having a black mark on your credit report. I can fix these things by getting someone approved later, which offsets the declination, but it was a big mess. So people shouldn't be messing with this that don't know what they're doing. So
Yep, we had the same thing. We had someone who was going to apply for long-term care, but went to the doctor and found out they had Parkinson's.
oh geez, that's
Yep.
that's awful.
Yep, terrible.
So for me, you're all offered a 30-minute consultation. I talk to you longer if you needed to talk to me longer, but if you'd like some more additional information, I'll send you that slide if you want to give the okay for me to email that to you. I do one-on-one meetings with people, and my thing is all about pre-screening people ahead of time so that they don't get put through the whole application process and then find that they may be declined. So it's all there's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's like getting pre-approved for a mortgage. You don't go apply for the mortgage when you haven't had your credit check, right? So the same thing. So
We did have a request for someone that wanted the who pays for care and any other information from the website or the webinar printed out, but I told them that we would email everybody that was here today the documents within the next few days.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. Thank you, Carol. This is Carol Brandt Financial. I would suggest that if you're interested in long-term care insurance or Medicare insurance, that you contact Carol for your free consultation. We refer a lot of people just to talk to Carol, not necessarily to buy from Carol, but typically they end up buying from Carol because Carol's honest and will find the best plan for each individual person and not worry about the income to herself, which is greatly appreciated by Elderwerks, because we're all about the people. We do not care about the financial aspect of things. So thank you.
Thank you. That was very kind. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Thank you all for being here tonight.